Hello, welcome to the AI Revolution Call. I'm Cody Willard. We've got Delaune, B-Money, self-nicknamed here. B-Money. I like it though, Bryce. I might keep that. I might change your name in my contacts. B-Money.
I had to log in again and ask me what name I'd like to use, so I was like, I'm going with B-Money.
All right, I like it. And John Dio. Craig and Bryce and I run 10,000 Days Capital. We invest in technology revolutions, including AI. And Johnny has been working in AI for decades, believe it or not. It is true.
This is why I barely made it here in time, was because I had to get my I needed my coffee. So
you need some caffeine, get the blood. I would think the adrenaline of being on camera would be enough.
Certainly helps. Yeah.
Look, AI. I mean, it is amazing how, like, we've been gone. I think we've been 2 weeks. We didn't do last week, and you guys might have done a week even before or something with me gone. But it's just amazing how quickly the news continues to accelerate. I mean, it seemed like every week there was some mind-blowing developments and competitive jockeying and leapfrogging going on for the last, what's it been, 3.5 years now since ChatGPT moment?
November 2022. So
yeah, 3.5.
3 years, a little over 3 years.
Yeah.
And it is accelerating. We always talk about the Kurzweilian acceleration of technology, and that the innovations accelerate in exponentially over time. And it's exactly what, like, you would expect then, mind-blowing developments like daily. So like this morning, Bryce and Craig and I are doing our weekly Monday strategy set up the week call. And in the middle of it, like, Google is announced as Apple announces Google as, almost was passive there. Sorry, John. Apple announces Google as their AI partner for Siri going forward. Thank goodness, because you guys, if you've ever watched this AI Revolution call before, you've seen me ask Siri to do something and it never works, and it's an ongoing joke. I would think in 6 months it works. But more importantly, it's distribution of Gemini, a viable, very good AI platform. And then all of the agents and stuff you're going to be able to put on your phone. And I always talk about probably the single lowest hanging fruit for, like, operating systems using AI is just being able to communicate, speaking what settings you want changed. And that will be amazing. It literally is just so archaic in many ways, but to simply be like, hey, Siri, I don't want Slack to show notifications anymore.
Sorry, I can't do that.
In 6 months, I think it will. That's just so cool.
yeah, I think it was I mean, it's a big deal. It's surprising. The AI trade has, because it's a little long in the tooth, like, it doesn't get the immediate pop factor anymore. At least it seems that way for like the last 3 months. The stock tried to rally and pretty much gave back its gains early, like within the hour. Like the move happened and gave back.
What stock, Bryce?
Google. Yeah. Google, like, while we were on our meeting, Google rallies, and I'm looking at the chart. I didn't see it, and then it had already faded back to where it was trading before that. But I do think it's a substantive, and I think it's a big deal for Google and a huge stamp of validation. I mean,
right. Obviously, partly more priced in now than it was 3 months ago when the stock was at 250, and now it's at 330. But that's exactly right, Bryce. 6 months ago really was where the prime time AI and announcements would make a stock get jiggy with it, if I may show my age there with you, Craig. Craig is fun because he actually gets my 1990s and 1980s references. He's just older enough than Bryce that there's some camaraderie about him knowing what I meant by get jiggy with it. Maybe Bryce did too, but this morning Bryce didn't know who Coolio was.
I'm always there to pick up, that slack. So I'm
Thank
glad.
you. But look, I mean, it is substantive. And 6 months ago, that announcement probably would have popped Google 10 or 15% intraday. It might have given back some of that, like always happens with noise. But it is, I think, like Google pays Apple $20 billion a year for the right to be the default search on the iPhone. If Apple, as AI actually gets helpful on Apple, they will end up generating more services revenues, more App Store revenues, etc. And Google will be paid somehow. I don't think they disclosed the arrangement of today's announcement. I don't even think it was a formal announcement. It was like the CNBC. Who's that guy who calls the Tim Cook and gets like inside information before every quarterly report, Bryce, whatever that guy's name is. He's a good reporter, frankly. I think he does a good job. And CNBC, but anyway, apparently he talked to I can't remember the guy's name, but the head of something over there at Apple, and you would know the name if I could think of it. But anyway, he just told him that they're using Google and they've been testing a lot of other LLMs, but Gemini was the one they went with, Google Gemini. So anyway, it's not even formal. So maybe that's partly why the stock didn't really get jiggy with it. But theoretically, Bryce, do you know who's saying get jiggy with it? John Dio. Do you know who's saying get jiggy with it? Getting jiggy with it, I think technically is the name.
I could pick it out of a multiple choice, but
all right, Craig.
Will Smith.
Yeah. Oh, really?
I'm so glad that you actually did know the answer, Craig, since you said you knew the answer earlier.
I was going to say the guy who he's best friends with Chris Rock.
Chris Rock's best friend.
It's the other half of that duo. Yeah.
Yeah. How bad an actor was DJ Jazzy Jeff, by the way?
I mean,
great actor. Terrible actor.
He wasn't trying to be an actor, though.
He was like, what were they putting him in the first season? He was in every other episode of, what was the name of the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air?
But
I would like to instruct AI, one of the video services, to redo Fresh Prince of Bel-Air and make DJ Jazzy Jeff a good actor.
I haven't seen it actually get around to acting, but it's getting close now.
Anyway, guys, it really is amazing. We haven't even hit on that. There is I haven't read the news. This is 2 or 3 months in the making, and it's been around for a while. But there's like a movie star AI girl that is, I'm sure, been signed by Creative Artists Agency, my former agency, actually. But
she's acting in something.
Yeah, I don't think anything's been released, but yes, it's coming. She's been signed by the agency, and now they're shopping her to studios.
Wow.
Tilly Norwood.
Be the star of a movie.
What's her name?
Tilly Norwood.
Tilly.
Tilly.
So the thing about Tilly Norwood, first they were going after Instagram influencer type things. So they get the same person looking the same way from whatever angles and whatever clothes, and they'd be like a model, that kind of thing. Acting, that's kind of tough.
John, it's here. It's just another. It's all of this stuff gets solved with more compute. We're at the stage where they can do it. They just don't have enough compute to turn it on and make it work as quickly as we all want it to. Which, by the way, is why Corey was up finally today, 15%. All of the AI neoscalers were moving, even in China. Here, let's get Craig back. Craig, did you pick up the Starlink?
I did. I am so excited.
Side note, we always hit space side notes on our AI call because it is the AI robotics and space revolutions that we're living through. I'm trademarking the term. Bryce, I think we should look into actually trademarking this. I like when you threw the TM there on our.
Did you see that?
I wrote a letter to our investors, year-end letter, and I coined the term the AIRS revolutions, AI revolution space, AIRS. Get it? Heirs, like also Michael Jordan. It's a reference. Come on, guys, work with me here. It is happening, and we make side notes on this stuff quickly. And like Starlink is better. It's more reliable, even in downtown Las Cruces where those guys work. Is it downtown? What do you call where you work, Bryce? Huh? Mesilla, close to downtown Las Cruces.
Yeah.
And their internet sucks. And so for months, we've been battling bad internet. You know what the solution is? Starlink.
It's cheaper and better speeds.
I've been a Starlink customer for 5-6 years now. I don't even know. Maybe I'm exaggerating. A long ass time. And it was life-changing. I live in rural New Mexico, middle of nowhere, though, and we had really bad DSL service and even worse cable service.
Did you get the version with the protection against Ayatollah?
What?
So, side note: Elon turned on Starlink for all of
yeah.
And they turned it off. The Ayatollah did.
Oh yeah, that is true. Yeah.
How did he turn it off?
How did they turn it off?
Oh no,
I don't believe that.
Yeah.
I mean, the hard part is
killing people who have it. They're going around and house to house and finding people who have it.
All right. Well, I believe that, but you can't turn it off. You can go take their receivers, but it is beamed from outer space through a secure Q-band to get there.
How did they get all of the dishes? And
I don't think there's a lot over there yet, but
there's 5,000, but they're kind of tracing signals coming and going when when everything's blacked out. Everything else is, they can pick up on signals happening while every other network is down, kind of thing.
In the name of protecting their people.
Mm-hmm.
Of course.
Yes.
So, but yeah, Starlink. I mean, we were looking to that as well when we were looking at the kind of rural property idea. You guys just happen to live that way year round, but we're city folk who just look at that as like a more of a weekend.
But that's my point. Is Bryce is city. There's 400,000 people in that town. That's not rural.
No,
there are a lot of fiber optic cords running around Las Cruces in trench.
I mean, it gets to be a self-fulfilling prophecy. I was telling Craig, like, these companies have been losing subscribers, so they're not investing in their infrastructure and their network, which makes it less reliable, worse speed. So they lose subscribers, and then it just becomes a self-fulfilling. I mean, it's the.
And meanwhile, Starlink is doing accelerated launching and better service and better satellites. I mean, that's one of Elon's best traits as a manager. I don't know if he has a good trait as a tweeter, but as a manager, one of his best traits is constant iteration, constant improvement, constant questioning of first principles. We haven't hit, while we're on space, let's tie space and AI together. I don't think we've talked to John about the idea, potential, excitement around data centers, AI data centers in space.
I think we mentioned it a couple of weeks back. We didn't really talk about it much, but yeah.
So we've done a lot of work on this for a year now, many months at least, long before it became, like, I think Bezos about a month ago sort of mainstreamed this concept when he was on a panel somewhere, talking on a stage somewhere being interviewed, and he said the next big thing will be AI data centers in space. And everybody was like, oh my God. But we'd actually been working on this for a while here because the idea is pretty darn good. The biggest problem with AI building data centers right now is you need electricity. And even if you do a solar AI data center, that's only 35% of the time that it gets powered, even in a sunny area over the year. Whereas if you throw a data center, solar panels on a data center orbiting Earth, it can stay in the sunlight essentially all the time. And so it's 24-hour energy, free energy from the sun. Space is extremely cold, but there's no air to dissipate the heat. But if you throw a solar panel array on top of a giant server cluster of servers, and not giant. We're talking probably, what do you think? Maybe 8 to 10 feet will be the actual data center satellite.
Yeah, maybe
And then the rest will be 80 to 100 square feet of solar arrays, and then you'll pipe water through there, and does dissipate enough as it runs through the solar arrays to cool the servers. And
why do you need to cool? I've heard this, but there's like there are the pessimists about it who say, yeah, it's not as simple as everyone's making it sound. I don't know if it is. Isn't?
I don't think anybody's making it sound simple.
But I thought the cooling, I mean, the simple aspect was it's in space.
It's actually an interesting question. That's one of the things I wanted to ask you, and maybe I guess we'll have to go get some Gemini work and figure this out a little bit better. Look at Bryce's internet. Is it?
You can see that too?
Yeah.
See? Crappy internet service. That's why we're doing next week. He'll be crystal clear like me on Starlink.
I'm like one of the reporters, like at the side of a hurricane.
Yeah.
It really does, or it looks like a 1988 VHS tape or something.
You got to stop reusing the same tape for everything. There'd be money.
Yeah, there you go, Bryce. Get a new tape.
There's this new thing called Chat GPT. I'm really interested to talk to you guys about. It just came out.
Back in time. So,
what do you guys think about the election? Trump got a chance?
Nixon?
I thought you were going to talk about Reagan versus.
Yeah, just don't drive 88 miles an hour. We'll never see you again.
Carter.
All right, look, anyway, the John, it seems like, I mean, the reason why the chips get hot is because electrons are moving around as all over these tiny little spaces, infinitely tiny, microscopic spaces, and the electrons are buzzing about, and it heats up the wires. And part of that, I would think, is because there is air. But maybe it's actually not. Now that I'm saying that out loud, no. But the reason it is a semiconductor is because it is slowing those electrons down and or blocking them sometimes, and that causes friction on the wire.
So, however, you're like one level deeper than I was going to get, which is just I'm like, okay, chip hot. So the chip, when you say the wires, like the wires within the chip,
yes, that's what I mean.
Yeah, everything moving around. But so that stuff's hot.
The microscopic wires on that chip get hot.
So if I put a chip in space, how cold is that chip going to get, even just by itself? Like
almost Kelvin zero.
Infinitely cold. Yeah, I mean super cold. Yeah. And so they're like, I don't know. So now you got new problems of, I don't know, maybe it's stuff that condenses in a way you didn't want or whatever. It was stuff wasn't designed for that, but it's a great idea. And also the other great part of the idea is like you talk about this data center taking up like whatever, 9 feet or something, but however much it takes up, it could be even smaller. It's talking to ones next to it.
Correct. It's all one big data center at that point.
It's just like Starlink it's a grid, and they talk to each other via light.
Yeah,
right.
Light
but I'm just picturing they will try to get as much processing compute power on each of the satellites as possible. And you're right. It might not be that big. They could do, we're talking, it'll be probably 10, 15, 20,000 AI data centers that will be replacing Starlink's current generation of satellites over the next 3 to 5, 7 years. One of the things that this does underscore is why I've always been so excited about the space revolution over the last, not always, but over the last 5 to 7 years. I've been very excited about the space revolution. And this is a perfect example. As costs to get things into orbit go de minimis, we just can't fathom all the applications that people will figure out to put in space. And one application is AI data centers. It's just one. There will be millions of ideas of things to do with orbiting satellites in space in coming years. A lot of it centered around AI. All right, we also got to hit CES. We didn't do, right? John couldn't do last week's call, but we actually, the three of us we were going to do it. But wanted to watch Jensen Huang's keynote at CES in Vegas last week. And it started, I don't know, 2:10 or something, our time, 50 minutes before our call. And when it hit the time for the call, he was maybe 2/3 done in the juice, man. And it was very exciting, but actually it was very exciting, I guess, in large part because he revealed the new, what's the name?
Ruben.
What's her first name?
Vera.
Yeah.
Vera Rubin. That was, I'm trying to remember the first name. The new Rubin chips, the new Vera Rubin platform. And they're 2-ton boxes of, how many was it, like, did he say 2 miles of copper in each box?
Yeah. Each
And they weigh 2 tons without water. With water, it's like 2.5 tons. They had accidentally shipped the server from California to Vegas with water. And anyway, it's, another not quite order of magnitude better in efficiency, in training, and in inference, and in energy efficiency, and in speed. It has an entirely new platform for every single one of the chips inside of it. They've put memory ever closer to the actual.
It seems so soon.
What's that?
It just seems so soon since the last one, Woodbridge or whatever. It's like they just announced one of these.
Every year. That's his plan. Every year.
Was it only a year? Was it?
It's been 1 year.
A full year passed?
I think that's about right.
Yeah, they started shipping. I don't remember when they first announced
right?
Blackwell, but they started
Blackwell.
shipping it like in maybe second quarter of last year.
And so the plan is to start shipping Rubin in this second quarter.
Okay. Yeah.
So
Yeah. It is fast, but I mean,
it's incredible, which is also why a lot of the short sellers hate the CoreWeaves and Nubiuses of the world, because like you're going to have to keep iterating and building and getting the new chips and the new data centers and continuing to build and accelerate. But watching his program, it also became clear, he actually said it explicitly, that the data centers get more profitable by an order of magnitude with the new platform. And so they'll still be using the old data centers. They're not ripping them out, and they'll still be generating revenue very profitably. And the new data centers will probably have higher gross margins and even thereby net margins and thereby earnings for these companies in the years ahead.
I heard secondhand.
Go ahead, John.
I heard it secondhand, but was he saying something about that? It's not just the chip anymore. So concentrate more about the whole system around that, and that'd be like the data center.
I think, John, that was even the Blackwell. He really started wanting us to picture it as a system, not a chip. And it's true. It's almost like a server itself, not a chip anymore.
Yeah, Nvidia designs and builds everything you need. I mean, except for the plastic box, metal box that it goes in. Dell and HP and those guys assemble it, put it together, and sell it as a system. But Nvidia now does it all. I mean, the networking chip, the optical chips, the CPU, the GPU. I think there's 6 chips they designed in the system.
Uh-huh.
And another point to make that I think is very important was he talked about that it takes 2 hours to build a Blackwell server, and he showed all of the connections and wirings and things on that individual server. And he said, and here is what Vera looks like. And it's just a few, like it almost looks like hard drives.
Yeah,
that you
like
just
2 or 3 plugins, right?
Sounds like a
It's just plug-in.
SpaceX rocket. Each
Right.
time they remake the engine,
That's right.
it looks.
And so he said it now takes 5 minutes to build one of those servers. And
Whoa.
so they'll, like, it's just wild.
Maybe do you remember, was it 5 minutes for like Foxconn to build it, or like 5 minutes for HP or whoever to put it all together?
I don't think he said whom, but I would think all of them are, 5 to 10 minutes each, they're all specialty. They're
So
all.
why does it cost less? Does it cost $40,000 still, or?
Probably more, John.
Probably more.
Yeah, I don't think he
I
announced.
mean, it's all about the cost per, the efficiency metrics, the cost per watt or the cost per token, whichever one you want to look at.
Yeah.
And because that's directly correlated to the revenue of the people buying these things.
Okay.
So do the math. If they're 8 times more efficient you could double the price and everybody wins.
Yes, right. That's about what's happening, I think. So
Yeah.
now you step up a level and you've got the folks that use this kind of stuff. And now it's your Anthropics and OpenAIs. It's actually Anthropics using Google stuff, actually, right? But, these kind of things, the people who are the real heavy duty consuming of what's happening in these data centers, that's and for them, they're thrilled for having what Nvidia's making, but they'll use everybody else as well. They'll fill in everything they can to get to.
They
cover.
do fill in everything they can, but I think that was another point that was pretty evident watching that presentation. About a third of the way through it, I turned to Craig and Bryce and I said, like, the Nvidia's lead over AMD just got bigger. It's instead of 3 years, it's 5 years. And yes, people will buy AMD because they can't get their hands on an Nvidia, and that's fine. You can at least do some stuff. And, and AMD is going to try to sell their systems at a price point that enables their customer to win. But I don't know, John. We've been buying more Nvidia.
Well, and then Nvidia also goes and buys Grok, as we talked about with Grok with a Q, that coulda, woulda been kind of a competitor, not at the scale, but in terms of just the technology that they offer. And Nvidia's like, that's fine, we'll just buy you.
Well, right. And John, that's the thing about a company like Grok with the Q, AI chip company that Nvidia, for all intents and purposes, purchased a couple, 3 weeks ago, or at least announced the intent to purchase. They'll get it approved and everything. And that company could, had a 5 or 10 year vision of how they could have actually leapfrogged Nvidia. And now Nvidia will incorporate whatever that was, that strategy and those technologies into their own platform. So yeah, it really could have been an Nvidia killer eventually, but
it's another win-win, right?
I don't think AMD. I don't think. I mean, look, Avago with its Google builds their AI with both Nvidia and their own internal chips that are designed using Avago technology, and that's not going away. They'll still be doing that. I mean, you're not going to leapfrog Google like you can AMD, because Google's, already up there. Their TPUs are at least in the same universe already with Nvidia. But obviously it's just internal for them.
Any talk about how much more emphasis should be now on inference rather than training?
I don't think Bryce did. I don't think he
talked about building the model. It's about
how much training, how much training capability and efficiency they're enabling here.
He talked about both. He said you could train. Well, Nvidia as a test trained a 10 trillion parameter AI model. They called it DeepSeek plus because Nvidia themselves modified it to make it bigger than DeepSeek really is. And so that would probably be the largest large language model in operation. So they train a 10 trillion parameter model on 100 trillion tokens, and it takes 1/4 of the amount of equipment to train that model in the same amount of time as it would have with the Blackwell system.
Do they say how much time that is?
Yeah, they train it in a month. So 64,000 Blackwells could train a $10 trillion parameter model in 1 month. And with Rubin, it only takes 16,000.
They didn't do the whole thing. They kind of did a sample of it to figure out what it would take. Because if they did the whole thing, we'd all be taken over by the computers by now.
Yeah, maybe.
That's AGI.
It is, but that's the thing, is that I come back to, until you can make a 30-minute science fiction episode with a prompt, we need more compute. And we are so far from being able to do that. The technology exists, but the compute power doesn't.
That's on the it's on the inference side.
If you were going to take a movie budget of $100 million, you could make an hour and a half long, completely AI generated thing. It would take you forever, and it would be very difficult. But 3 years from now, they'll have the compute and the prompts and everything, the platforms, Like you'll even be like,
talked
hey,
about
I'm gonna take that character and put it over there, but for this thing, and again, I could make DJ Jazzy Jeff a good actor.
That takes longer. Yeah, but we talked at one point about like Pixar, Silicon Graphics machines, and how when they made Toy Story, it was, you know, like 1 second of it or something was this like overnight computing of this big thing. And it's like, so the idea of oh no, I had to wait a minute to get my 30 seconds. It's like 30 seconds. You only have to do 300 of those and you're done with a full length movie. So, I mean, obviously you do them over and over to get just quite the way you want and everything. But now with VO, with banana, like these different things, you have the consistency on characters. You have tons of people on YouTube talking about showing how they're like, here's a starting image, here's an ending image. Go make me the thing that gets me from here to here. And it's like very consistent.
And look, you know, soon there's going to be a breakout hit on YouTube, a 30-minute episode of someone who literally spent the last 6 months doing what you just described, making 30-second clips at a time, editing them together, refining them, changing one out, putting it back in. And it turns out they're going to turn out some like kid, you know, some 14-year-old creative genius, and his mom's trailer is going to be, you know, a billion views.
The last stuff has been matching the, you know, when they speak, matching the vocals to the mouth, and they're doing that now. And that was like a missing link. And I think, you know, one other is sort of acting, you know, if you will. It's like getting just the expression and timing that you'd want. And they have a thing where the person putting it together can go, I'm going to say it like this myself. And then boom, they can replace that with whoever they want. And it's got all the same stuff, you know.
I mean, I've already seen on Instagram, I've seen this guy who does these National Geographic-esque Pokemon videos where he'll go and like follow a Pokemon through its evolution over time. And it's super interesting. It's really fun. And people are like, I don't care if this is AI. I would watch like a 30-minute episode of this. And it's about 2 minutes.
That's my
you know?
This says more about you.
Yeah, I was going to say, Craig, I don't know if you wanted to say it was really good. It's Pokemon, man. It can't be that good.
It's good. And I mean, my brother collects Pokemon cards and stuff is crazy. Like there's so many people into it. It was actually really well done.
What's crazy is I actually was going to say, so he spent maybe a third of it on AI. Vera Rubin, Jensen Huang speaking at CES in Vegas, spent about a third of the time on the new AI servers. But then he was like, and like it's almost Steve Jobs-esque, one more thing. Hey, robots, roll on out here. And he had a couple of those Disney robots roll out, interact with him, play with him, do things with him. He could have, I'm sure, put a LLM in it, and it, you know, could have spoken back and forth, but he was keeping it true to the Star Wars genre. He also showed, even before that, he showed a guy who took one of the, for Christmas, Bryce got me an Nvidia AI computer, which is just about like this big. And it's a developer's kit. And so we had problems. We haven't been able to tackle it yet. We're not developers. I think we might end up hiring a developer at some point.
Send it over.
You know. All right, we might, Johnny. We'll talk to you about that offline. The point of the story, the guy took one of those, put it in a little robot form factor, and was like, hey, well, show me what's on the bed across the room. And it showed, you know, it pivoted its head, showed a picture, told him what it was looking at. And he, you know, and it was like a home-built AI interface, a home-built robot with a complete AI interface that controlled its movements and its, you know, it saw through the eyes. It's a computer in many ways. But then the other thing, though, he truly shows, here's all the different form factors that these robots are about to start, built on Nvidia physical AI platforms, are going to look like. And he had a Caterpillar backhoe. What do you call that big old thing, Bryce?
Trackhoe or excavator.
And then he had humanoid robots. He had industrial robots. They did something with Siemens to put robots in every factory that's being built from here on out. And it was all about robots. The next 2/3 of the presentation was all about the Nvidia robot platform and how much AI, physical AI training they've already done. They are now using simulated video to train the AI, and so they can give it a prompt to be like, hey, put a squirrel on top of the hood and show us how we would, drive without killing the squirrel. And it is just all kinds of random long tail potential events you run into driving and full self-driving, which is a form of physical AI and robots. It's the same platform that Nvidia is using for their robots that they're using for self-driving. And it was pretty darn impressive. That Elon was asked after the event how bad that is for Tesla's dominance and lead in full self-driving in retail cars. And he rightly pointed out that even if Ford and GM like today were like, yeah, we're all in, let's start designing our cars for the Nvidia full self-driving platform, it's 3 to 5 years before any of that gets on the roads. And by then, Tesla's already doing something else and, dominant. So, but anyway, it was a heck of a presentation. It made me more excited about Nvidia probably than ever. I've been an investor in Nvidia for 8-9 years and still hold it. And it's one of our largest positions. It's my personal largest position because it's up like 220x or something since I bought it. But it was very bullish for Nvidia. It was bullish for the AI data centers. It was bullish for robots. We're living in the future.
Yeah, there was a really cool video on YouTube. It was 60 minutes, and they had the Hyundai's Atlas, and it was using the physical AI by Nvidia to train its robot, like on the fly, kind of. It had the guy do jumping jacks, and then it simulated it like thousands of times in different ways. And it was super cool just to see that robot do jumping jacks and stuff. I was like,
you're seeing all, because like off into every direction in the simulated space, and they got them falling down and doing whatever until they're getting it. Finally, you're seeing them like all just doing exactly right, all with each other, all these separate simulations. Come back to it, and it's like, okay, I can do that. Was I think the 60 minutes thing or something, because they showed the reporter guy kind of walking down like this and like that, whatever, and then they had it step in and just totally do his gestures. And
I thought that part was more cool just because it really did emulate the way that guy walks and points and stuff. Really, I mean, identical, Like everybody kind of does a jumping jack the same way, but only that guy walks and points and uses his hands in a certain way,
The biggest point I think one that Cody makes about like the squirrel, which is all whatever kind of edge cases of what might actually happen some point in the world. You're not going to be able to go and figure them all out in advance, but the more that you can put out there, the more things it can try of like, oh, I wonder if this and I wonder if that. However, just working off of, I've seen it, which is what this stuff is trained to handle those. I don't know what the level of generalization is as compared to the, Jan LeCun thing, which is like train it to predict the next frames of video. Like, here's what's happening now, what's going to go on. And that means it's got to have, qualitative physics understanding. It's got to have real world understanding of all the different things in the
John, that was another thing I wish actually you might want to go watch his keynote, or at least the last third of it. And because he talked about I don't think he used the word ontological, but the ontology of the platform itself from the ground up being taught to reason about physics and understanding gravity from the ground up. And it was really interesting because the car would even explain its choices in these simulations and in basic English to you, the programmer, or whatever the developer that was looking at that video. But he showed some clips of it, and it would be like, oh, I see an animal's trying to step out in front of that car. I need to slow down and slightly turn left to avoid that. and it explains from a very, like, not, hey, I've been trained to swerve if something darts in front of the car, but literally why it's swerving, and not just that it did.
Yeah.
John, don't you think, going to back to kind of what you're talking about with Jan LeCun, like he criticizes the major companies for being like LLM heavy or whatever, but I think they're also doing diffusion and all this other things, like different types of models. But I was thinking about like the way humans learn, and like we see with our eyes, we watch somebody else do it, but like a toddler doesn't understand object permanence. They don't do physics and calculus in their head to determine where objects are. Like you see, you learn, you remember. Like if you can teach a computer to do those kind of basic things, it can figure out a lot more than that, because that's the same way humans figure out stuff. They don't have to have embedded world models with physics pre-programmed. You know what I mean?
Okay.
You just learn. If you throw a ball many times, I have to throw it a little bit harder to make it go further. I mean,
I don't know. Like take object permanence. Infants don't have it at a certain age. Children do. Yeah. Do they learn it? I don't know. Or is certain brain development a point? I think it's more of a stage in brain development that they reach for it to have it. But yeah, there's to go say, well, how do humans learn? There's a lot of ways that humans learn that's a lot different than how any of this stuff works.
I guess all I'm saying is that it's when you listen to those guys, and there's other AI naysayers that are like AI experts, like that Gary Black and those guys. They're like, oh, AI is going to be fantastic, but it's not going to be transformer models. It's not going to be diffusion. It's going to be this mystical thing that maybe I'm working on, you know? But it's like, if with LLMs and vision models, computers can see the world and understand the world. They can see text, understand text, repeat text. Enough of that over time gets pretty damn close to those are the same. I guess my point is those are the same inputs that humans have. Right?
And they do
feel, act, learn.
John, if I can interject, I think that's part, like, to bridge the gap between what you two guys are saying. It's almost like when we say it's foundational, that it understands gravity. I don't think, Bryce, it necessarily needs the equations and all the specifics of gravity, but it's in the same fundamental way that a toddler learns that throwing the ball gets you through some gravity and throwing it harder gets you through more gravity. I think that's what we're getting at. It's like it's gonna, like, it understands that gravity exists. It can understand that gravity exists, and therefore it does. And then it can learn off of that. Maybe we're all trying to get to the same spot of what we're saying, I think. Go ahead, John.
I'm not sure. I'm going to take the side that I'll stop you at the word understand even and go, I don't think we have a good understanding of what it understands. It does amazing things, and it does it from all these different sensory, yes, you can do text and images and all these kinds of things, but having an intuition for gravity, we don't see that in these things yet. You
said, yeah, that was where I was going to ask. So you just tell me, though, is it just a matter of time and compute? Like, we'll get there.
I don't think so right now. I think we will get there. I don't know that LLMs get us there. I don't think that matters at all. I think that these the frontier companies, if they're smart, will continue to innovate at the edges of what counts as LLM or not as they go and do. Take memory, for example, right? These LLMs don't have that good a memory. You put something in, you get something out, and it starts over like stateless, but now they're getting to where you can have it that you put something in, it holds on to something about that, even at sort of the chip level, that it's in the model level, it's in the transformer itself, kind of retaining something so that next time around, what it can go and do with that. Or the context, they go, when you have a 10 million window on context, and then it gets to be a decent performing 10 million context window, which is how many tokens or words can it deal with at once, like all in its short-term memory while it goes and does a thing. It's like, so it keeps improving. I don't know whether it is by itself the architecture that delivers everything, but like Bryce and I both said before, you could stop right now and never develop another thing, and we'd go for a couple decades of innovations off of what we already have.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. John, is the fundamental breakthrough of the transformer that it's like the attention, the concept of attention, that the computer can decipher like what's important from what's unimportant?
Yeah, right.
Is that right?
Yes, you got your KV, is it QKV? It's the key value in query to go and say, this thing came on the way in this big, say this sentence right here that came in, you know, each word is a token essentially. And the thing is going, well, I'm going to look at that one there and say, which of the other words around it matter most to that word? Like if it changed, that would change this one with it. And it goes through every single thing like that. And that, say you got this 10-word sentence, now make it a 10 million word. It's not a sentence anymore, but 10 million words, where that attention setting is happening on every one against every other one through that whole entire set. And that just is unbelievable power that the thing then has. I sit here on a daily basis and I'm sitting here working with the Claude doing programming where it's dealing with now my very large multi-100,000 line code base and telling me that, hey, I want to make this change here that's going to do this to that and so forth. And I'm talking to it and it's explaining stuff. And I'm like, I have to step back and go, how can it be doing what it's doing?
Yeah.
It's
That's
unbelievable, you know?
That's thank you. Thanks
that's
everybody for watching. A guy who's been working in AI and programming for 25 years thinks to himself on a daily basis that how is this possible? That's the moment in time that you're in right now, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much. I'm going to make the prediction that 2026 is not the year of AI and not the year of space, despite SpaceX's IPO. It is the year of the robot.
I think
AI will be great. I think space might actually have some problems ahead. I think space has gotten ahead of itself. It feels rather hyped and bubbled up at this moment.
I think it's not. I think it's the year of the agency, which means the set of agents that can do like amazing, can act like a company by itself and stuff like that.
Sounds like a good movie that we could put Will Smith in called The Agency. And it's about AI agency somehow. And there's obviously some constant threat to humanity that he has to save all of us.
I want to have kind of a Tron aspect to it because it's all happening like, you know, in there. The agency's made up of these artificial AI agents. That's who works there, you know.
Now you're speaking my language.
Tron. Yeah.
I agree with you on the agent thing. And I thought it was pretty cool, not to bring up another back to Google, but you know, Google just released tools for retailers to put agentic workflows and stuff within their own websites. So it's kind of different than the OpenAI's approach, where they want people to go to OpenAI all the time to do their shopping and everything like that. You know, Google's putting out these tools for the retailers, and I just think that is super cool and just speaks to the model and how well under the hood it can, you know, integrate with other people, with other people's websites.
Well,
Maybe it's fast.
That's the main reason why we've been so bullish on Google for the last year, while everybody thought search might get killed from AI. And we were like, but dude, Google's amazing at AI and it's integrated everywhere in your life. You literally don't get away from it. You search the internet, you're on Google. You go to Gmail, you're on Google. You're on your Gemini phone or your Google phone. You're on your Android phone of any 3 billion people on Android phones, 5 billion Android devices. Like, and now all of a sudden, all of it is Gemini friendly.
I think you're right. You win. I was picking on Google, and I still pick on them some just from the standpoint of they need to get good at product delivery in a way where it's not so hard to go find the site I'm supposed to be on to go use this thing. And like you know, OpenAI, everybody knows ChatGPT. You go there, you use it, and then they made it easy about sign up, and this is what you get. And I'm not saying anything is great about it beyond that, but like Google has all of these capabilities, and I've just over the years, they keep pulling away the football from Charlie Brown, you know, when it comes to these, like when, like I'll go back to Google Wave. Google Wave came out. I saw it at a conference. They were showing it off and talking about it. I mean, I barely got home before they canceled the thing. So they've got to like let stuff, you know, come to life and breathe. And like, who are they as a company for marketing this stuff? Do they go and get somebody else in between because they have so much to deliver on, or do they do it themselves but get better at making simple sites you can go to? They already have the main kind of thing, which is, you know, I go and I log into my Google account and it's got Google Drive over here and, you know, Google Docs and whatever. So if they could follow that, where it's just, no, it's just more stuff showing into your Google account. But
and John, but that's always my point, is that we're just going to get to the point where we don't even interface with any of that using the mouse and stuff. And you just talk to your dang phone and it projects some 3D holographic image up, whatever you wanted to see, manipulate it with your hands in the air.
And go like this, like you just don't care.
Well played. All right, last words. I'm bored. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh man, now you hit me with that, because I thought.
All right, Craig, last words or last question, whatever you want.
I'll say my last words. You know, I agree with John. Again, this year is definitely the age of the agent. And again, you know, with Google and what they're doing under the hood, you know, I kind of see a future where if Google's agents are everywhere running amok, it might be a repeat of search, you know, when they just get to the point where their tools are just so good and everybody's using them for their own, you know, customer service and everything. I don't know, man. I think Google's really just working so hard under the hood to make sure that their stuff is integratable and serviceable across the board. So,
how far ahead of Apple are they in doing that on a operating system level, on a holistic level? Apple is going to be 3 years behind here when they try to skate to where they want to go. That being said, it's Apple. It'll probably work out. Bryce?
So my prediction, the final word is that I've never made like an AGI prediction before, but I think it's 2027 is the year. For low end stuff, I built a model estimating how we get there. 2028, it's as good as the average worker, you know, like, you know, do anything the average knowledge worker can, and then by 2029, it's can do better than any worker, human worker can. But anyways, well, the way I did it, John, my methodology was I estimated the amount of tokens per second that the global workforce can produce. Like, you know, how many words and things can you process in your brain, multiply that times the number of workers working at any one time, and then divide that number by the tokens per seconds of GPUs that you need to get there.
And that makes you conclude what?
That your global GPU fleet will have the same token output per second as the human knowledge worker fleet. So,
I like it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Johnny?
It's rough. I mean, it's not apples to apples. The tokens humans don't.
No, and in some ways,
it's a way to estimate it. You know,
right? It's a way to estimate it. It's a shorthand way of estimating it. I mean, clearly, with that kind of power, but complete access to all written words and all kinds of physical AI, it'll probably be better than the average human being already. But I get you, Johnny. Last word.
All right, I had two, but I'll go with the one that I'm more interested in. So y'all heard the phrase second brain?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It has to do with like people who are into personal knowledge management, PKM type tools like Notion or Obsidian or this kind of thing, and basically keeping track of all of what you do and building a knowledge base of your stuff, and just by notes, you know, taking notes in all fancy ways. So Second Brain now is getting to a new level because you can take stuff like Claude Code and let it automate the part that it was always, humans had to be doing. It can go and take your little something you wrote and go check this web page and make a summary and stick it here and link it to the other pages and store it a certain way. And it's your whole management of yourself. You're setting up your kind of personal operating system for every little thing you have to do and letting AI play the right pieces of that. So Second Brain, it's where I'm going to get. I've worked at that for over a decade in all little different ways, but now it's getting to an interesting place.
I want a third brain.
You should start with one.
I leave you guys with this thought. Hey, Bryce, can you add my camera to the?
Sure. All right, Cody, you're on the phone.
All right, my robot looks cooler than ever.
Is that a shadow? Or, yeah.
No, it's black now.
It's black now. I got it wrapped.
Oh,
And
God,
the
now
black-
I can tell. In the sunlight, it was hard to.
Yeah.
Oh,
You sort of froze, Cody. I'm not sure if you can still hear us.
Yeah. I tell you what, this thing is truly a robot. Let me switch back to it. It really does.
We lost you. Oh, here we go.
Everywhere. It opens itself and I stand in front of it. My wife's new Model X, you walk up to the door, it opens completely. You get in, you put your foot on the brake, it closes. They're robots. It's the year of the robot. That's my final word.
all right.
Awesome.
Good word.
Peace and love. Thanks everybody for showing up.
Adios.
We'll see you.
Thanks, Johnny.